Alright guys, so the other day, I made a video about a Schecter E1 SLS Evil Twin guitar that showed up to me basically in non-functional condition. And many of you guys in the comments told me that I should return that guitar. So did I? Nope. And here's why. Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle. What I do is I take all sorts of awesome high gain related guitar gear, I record it with a simple SM57 setup, and I give you the unprocessed audio on your end. And sometimes I sound like a used car salesman without meaning to. But we're gonna do a quick little reaction video to your guys' comments on the video that I put out a couple of days ago, because I got some really interesting comments. A lot of you guys were asking a lot of the same questions, and I kind of wanted to respond to those and give you my thoughts on them. Also, if you can't tell, I'm still sick, which is really weird for me because usually I kick sickness in like 2 or 3 days. Here we are over a week later and I'm still fighting off whatever the hell this is. And on top of that, I need some easy content to make because I have a new puppy in the house and he needs constant supervision. Don't you, buddy? Yeah, you're a little handful. You're a little handful. I've spent all morning trying to get this dog tired out and he is finally starting to chill. So belligerent amateur nation, meet Mr. Musafir, which means traveler, and because I wanted to call him Moosey for short. Alright guys, so addressing your comments on the Schecter E1 Explorer. So just in case you didn't see the video, I'll make sure to link it somewhere in the description or in the cards or something on this video. But what happened is I hit up Zounds to get a guitar that I really wanted, the Schecter E1 SLS Evil Twin. I got it at a very steep discount because I am a Zounds affiliate and they take very good care of me. So thanks again to Zounds, affiliate link in the description if you guys want to order anything from them. And when it showed up, I made an unboxing video and things did not quite go as planned because when I plugged it in, there was a serious grounding issue with the guitar, among a couple of other things that I found out. But I ended up fixing the guitar. Now, a lot of you, the most popular question was, why did you not just immediately return it? And I'm gonna tell you why. Because the issues that I found were not serious enough for me to feel that returning the guitar was necessary. Now, when it comes to buying used gear, there are a lot of different people who live in a lot of different schools of thought. A lot of people think that if a guitar shows up, you bought it brand new, you paid a certain price for it, it should be absolutely perfect, there should be no defects, there should be nothing wrong with it, and it should be ready to go right out of the box. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that mindset, and I think as the buyer, you are absolutely correct to feel that way. You should be getting the product that you've paid for in the condition that you paid for. So don't think that anything that I'm gonna say in this video is me saying that you are not in the right frame of mind for thinking or feeling that way, because I 100% agree with that thought. But there are other people out there who maybe don't have such a high or, such stringent standards of what they expect when they buy a new item. Myself as an example, I am not the biggest stickler in the world for, especially when it comes to like finish type stuff. I don't really care if there are little blemishes in the finish or anything like that. As long as it's nothing heinous, as long as it's nothing that's going to affect the playability of the guitar or the sound of the guitar, then I usually can disregard it unless it's something that really bugs me or something that's like really ridiculous, like a big ding in the finish or something. That's just the type of person I am. I'm not super picky. I'm gonna play my guitars. They're gonna get wear. They're gonna get damage. What, buddy? Huh? You getting fussy? So that's fit and finish type stuff. When it comes to setup, again, the guitar has to travel multiple times before it gets into the end user's hands. It's gotta probably go through multiple different climates and weather zones in order to finally get to you, the customer, and who knows how long that takes. It's probably months from the time that it actually leaves the factory to when it gets to the distributor like Zounds, and then when it gets ordered and then gets sent to you, I mean, there could be months in between that as well. So a guitar is made of wood, and wood is very, very susceptible to changes in the environment, changes in the climate. So more than likely the setup that guitar got when it was produced no longer applies, or the intonation, things like that can go out, the strings. Hopefully they don't get any sort of corrosion, but I've seen it on new guitars. If they've been sitting a while, it's just something that happens. It's something that's part of the process. So if a guitar comes to me and the intonation is out like it was on the E1 and the setup is maybe off, that's really not a big deal to me. Those are things that I can fix, and frankly, most of you should be able to fix as well. I think that if you own a guitar, if you own multiple guitars, you should really invest in yourself and figure out how to set up and properly inspect guitars when they show up anyways, because that way you will not only know whether your guitar needs an intonation or a setup out of the box, and you can just fix that issue right there instead of sending it back 3 times and making this distributor continuously send you new guitars, because we as the consumer have to pay for that service. That stuff is free, but it's not free because it gets worked into the cost of everything from the companies. But you will actually be able to notice real issues like twisted necks, like high frets. Once you put a proper setup on a guitar, that stuff becomes very apparent. So anyways, those are not things that bother me whatsoever when I am looking at a new guitar out of the box. Setup, fit and finish, like I said, as long as nothing is glaringly obvious to me that there's a serious issue, doesn't bother me. Now, when it comes to the next point of electronics not working, that's kind of a different ballpark, because that's where I start to not want to put work into the guitar. Because, you know, electronics can be a pain. It can be difficult to troubleshoot the issue and try to track it down. And really, if you're buying a brand new instrument, you as the customer should not be having to track down functional issues with the electronics. That should not be part of the game whatsoever. Those issues should absolutely be caught before the guitar leaves the factory. I don't think that there's any argument there where you could persuade me otherwise. Now, here is where how I feel will probably differ with how a lot of you guys feel based on your comments. If a guitar shows up with an issue like that, and I think I know what it is and I'm able to correct it pretty easily, the first thing that I will do is go back to the supplier and say, hey, here's what's going on. Is returning the guitar an option? Because I personally would like to just fix it myself and not just send it back and, you know, get another one and hopefully that one's good. And I kind of knew where that grounding issue was coming from. At least I had a pretty solid idea. So I hit up Zounds and they said, yeah, you can absolutely return it, but if you think that you can fix it without doing any sort of damage to it, then go ahead by all means. And if you can't get it sorted, then send it back to us. And now keep in mind, guys, my purchasing situation, this is different than a normal customer because I'm an affiliate. I asked them to send me this guitar. They sent it to me on an extremely deep discount. It's not like I paid retail or anywhere close to retail for this guitar. So keep that in mind. If I had bought this from a different retailer where they had not given me a discount, the first thing I would have said was, hey, there is an issue. I want you to know. I want the manufacturer to know, but I would still offer to fix it if they were willing to give me some sort of significant discount off the price. And if they said no, then the guitar absolutely would have went back to the dealer, the distributor, whatever, because if I get a guitar that comes with a issue that I actually has to fix, that's not just a setup issue, that to me is a sign of poor quality control. Because if I buy a brand new guitar, it should not have a functional issue like that. So of course, if it was a normal buying situation and I was a normal customer and this was a normal purchase, those were the first 2 steps I would have taken. Hey, there's an issue, can I fix it? And if I fix it, can I get a discount? Or B, hey, there's an issue, can we send this thing back if you're not comfortable with me taking a look at it? So yeah, I'm with you guys 100% on that. If I was the average customer buying from somebody that I don't have a business relationship with, yes, things would have went differently for sure. But because I got this guitar at a discount, because I went through Zounds, who is an affiliate, I decided that I wanted to keep it and fix it, and I was okay with that. Now, a lot of you guys said that I should have returned it just to basically hit Schecter in the wallet, for them to take some sort of financial hit. And again, I agree with that. Like, you should basically be, as a manufacturer, kind of penalized for sending out a product like that. Because again, if some kid got that, or if some newer player got that, or somebody who's just not savvy with repairing or troubleshooting guitars, they're having a really bad day. And that is a really bad customer experience, and somebody may not go back to that brand after that customer experience. So Schecter should know about that. But because I bought that guitar not only for myself, but to make a video, that was one of the reasons why I purchased it, is I wanted to make a video with it before I used it for my own purposes. I did something that was probably much, much more effective than returning a single guitar and getting a new one as far as getting the manufacturer's attention. And that is making a video about that quality control issue. Because which one do you think catches Schecter's attention more? A video that got 24,000 views in the first 24 hours about one of their bad quality control issues, or a simple returned guitar, which I'm sure that they deal with all the time? A lot of you guys basically were saying I was doing the wrong thing by not returning it because Schecter wouldn't be notified that they were sending out guitars that obviously had not even been plugged in before they left the factory, or plugged in when they got to the USA inspection table, but they slapped a sticker on it anyways, which is kind of what I find the most ridiculous about this. So yeah, that is why I decided to keep the guitar, because I was able to fix it easily. And I'm also the type of person who has always been more of a do-it-yourself, fix-it type person. Instead of wasting the gas and the packing materials and the resources in order to get it back to Zounds, have Zounds do whatever they need to do, probably send it back to Schecter, and then send for them to do what I did to the guitar, and then send it all the way back to Zounds and then resell it as a B stock. I mean, that's just, I feel like that's a lot of unnecessary stuff when I was able to fix the problem easily myself. Now again, the consumer should not be fixing problems for these manufacturers from the factory. I totally agree with that, but again, this was a little bit of a special scenario, so that is where I come from. I like to fix things, especially when I feel like it makes more sense, and that's how I felt about this particular situation. Now, a couple of you people said that I should have reached out to Schecter directly and somehow have leveraged that into a new guitar for myself and also getting to keep that or some sort of compensation or something, but nah, man, I'm not into that. I don't like that way of thinking. I feel like that's kind of a common problem with modern consumerism, with the buyer always feeling super entitled, where if they're even mildly inconvenienced, that they think that this company should essentially give them the world. And I just don't subscribe to that way of thinking. I'm not a call and complain and, you know, basically try to do anything other than let the company know that I got a bad product so that they can try to take care of it on their end and give me any sort of compensation on my end for my time or whatever I see as fair for having to deal with the bad product. But essentially trying to get more free stuff than I think the situation calls for, or more of a discount or an entire new guitar just based over this by trying to raise a stink and somehow work it out to my benefit. I'm not into that way of thinking, man. I think that's a bad show of character, if I'm being completely honest. And I think if you do that, personally, I don't think that's cool. And I think that that just shows that personally, I don't think that's cool, and that's not something that I'm ever gonna do. Another comment that I was seeing pop up pretty frequently is a lot of people defending Schecter, saying, well, Schecter's a great company. They have some of the best quality control in the business when it comes to imports, and one bad guitar isn't indicative of the entire company in itself. I agree. I never said that. I never said that. I even say in the video that normally I feel that Schecter has great quality control and that their instruments are of a very high quality. I think they're some of the best imports that you can get your hands on that are like super mass produced and distributed worldwide like they are. So those of you who are kind of attacking me in the comments for saying something that I didn't actually say, that's on you. And I think that it just has a lot to do with brand tribalism and fanboyism, which I'm also not a fan of. There are a lot of brands that I love, that I am, you know, kind of dedicated to as a consumer, as a customer, and as a fan of guitar gear. But if they mess something up, they should know. And I'm not gonna let that slip just because I'm a fan of the brand, and you guys shouldn't either. And in this particular case, that issue kind of tells me a lot about their quality control process, because there is no way that this guitar ever got plugged in to an amplifier and checked, or if it did, whoever actually checked it didn't really care. They didn't really actually pay attention to what they were doing, because even on a clean channel, the pickup was super weak because it was not getting a proper ground. And not only was it buzzing, but you should have been able to hear the weak output in comparison with the neck pickup as well. So there's really no excuse for that issue getting through. And on top of that, they over drilled a hole and tried to use a cheap piece of wood to shim it. They didn't even try to put like sawdust and glue in there or anything in order for it to actually stay put. They just threw that cheap little shim in there and they basically went about their day and pumped it out. They didn't consider calling it a B stock or anything, which if I knew it was a B stock, if I knew that there was some sort of previous issue with it, I would have been fine with that. But to me, this shows me that not only did they not plug it in from the factory to check it out, but when it came here to get that USA inspection sticker, they didn't do that either. Or if they did, they just were not paying attention to what they were doing. And to me, that is unacceptable quality control coming from somebody who is not typically that picky about quality control on new guitars. That is just not something that should have ever left the factory. It should have not left the USA inspection bench without being corrected and solved. Not to mention the cold solder joints inside the cavity, the pickup or the electronics cavity when I went in to try and check those out. So there were a couple of issues that I found a little bit troubling, which leads me to another popular comment on that video. Is a lot of people were basically saying that they've been experiencing more quality control issues since the pandemic. I have been hearing that left and right, and you guys, you may be right. I don't buy a lot of new gear. I have been getting more new gear in basically working with companies on my YouTube channel than I ever have in the past. So I can't really speak to that. So I gotta take you guys at your word. I've gotten quite a few new pieces of guitar equipment from the companies that I've been working with in the last year. This is the first one that I've had an issue with. So it really wouldn't be surprising to me though, because I know that places are having a hard time finding people who, want to work, and this is not gonna be a political thing. I don't think that people don't wanna work. I just think that people are fed up of working and being valued for less than they should be. Therefore, they're being more selective about the jobs that they're taking. So if these companies are not hiring people at a proper pay rate for the jobs that they're doing, then yeah, they're gonna get employees who don't really care about the actual quality of the guitars that are passing through with the Schecter name on it. And that makes sense to me. And then the last comment that I got somewhat frequently, but not too much, because most of you guys out there aren't total morons. So I got a few people saying that I was being way overly dramatic about the issue. Was I being dramatic? I don't really think I was. I think I was actually fairly calm and fairly diplomatic about the whole issue, because there are people out there who would have definitely raised a much bigger stink about the issues that I found with this guitar had they received it. Sure, I made a video about it, but that's just because I had planned on making a video on it anyways. As you guys can see in the unboxing, I don't know that there's anything wrong with that guitar until I plug it in. So there was definitely no plan on my part for this thing to be busted and for me to make this big video trying to get a bunch of attention and trying to shame Schecter as a company for this issue. That was never what this was about. And even when I did call them out for the issues, sure, I was frustrated, but I was never like, I'm writing this company off. I never said that what I found was indicative of their quality as a brand as a whole. I never said that. Didn't imply it either. I actually said the opposite. I said Schecter typically, in my experience, has really solid quality control. They're very high quality instruments for the money. So apparently me saying anything at all about a guitar showing up with very glaringly obvious issues is me being a Karen. And I want to read you one comment that I just found hilarious, because this dude, I just ended up trolling him in the comments because he was just being so unreasonable. So Werner Polk says, I'd say you were a bit too dramatic about it. These little wood pieces are quite standard in tailpiece, drill holes, and all price ranges. Althawing guitars are not high gain tested either. Outgoing, I'm assuming he means. Intonation can't be on point after you took it apart, and it has also bead twice transported. I agree with the transportation part, like I said earlier in this video. It's very likely that something will change in that setup on the way from the factory to the consumer. The grounding issue was bad luck, to be fair. No, it's just bad craftsmanship. Inspection doesn't take the guitars into pieces before sending a non-high gain test, doesn't reveal that mishap. Again, that's incorrect because the pickup was weak. It had weak output. You're also sitting right in front of several high gain amps and speakers. The other E had only one pickup and sounded very muddy. That's purely a matter of opinion on your end. Don't really know what's going on with that one there. Nothing, because nothing was wrong with it. Fishman in general is one of the quietest pickups out on the market. I agree with that statement, which is why the pickups on this one feeding back was a concern to me, because it was an active pickup that's supposed to be quiet, that was feeding back without me doing anything to it at all. Whereas the same exact pickup in a different guitar that sounded perfectly fine was not an issue. So you're literally just like choosing to be selective about what you're concerned about. So I just replied and I said, I don't agree on any of those points, but hey, thanks for the comment. And the guy came back and said, you can't argue with facts. Well, nothing in this statement is a fact. So nice try. And I just continued to troll the dude afterwards, who was completely oblivious and not self-aware to that at all. So thank you. I had a good time, and now I get to put you on blast on this video because I think that you're kind of a silly, stupid person. So thanks, Werner. Can't wait for your future engagement down below in the comments of this video. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much gonna do it for me today. I just wanted to address some of your comments. I agree with a lot of what you guys said. And again, had it been a normal purchasing situation where I was just the average customer purchasing from somebody that I didn't have an affiliation with, yeah, things would have went differently. I would have either asked for a discount on the guitar or I would have returned it because it was not correct. So you guys are 100% right in saying that. You are 100% right in basically saying that that's an unacceptable guitar as a new item out of the box. And I agree with that statement as well. I just don't think that that's acceptable. I love Schecter guitars. This has not turned me off of the brand. It has changed my opinion of their level of attention to quality control a little bit, and I don't think that that's unwarranted. I sound extremely nasally at this point, so I think I'm gonna wrap this thing up. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about what I had to say in response to some of those comments on that other video. Again, if you haven't seen it, check it out. I'll link it down below in the comments. If you want to support this channel and what I do here, you can visit those affiliate links, Zounds, Sweetwater, and a couple others down in the description. All that stuff really helps the channel grow. I appreciate you watching this video. If you liked it and this is your first time here, hit the like button. It really does help. Subscribe if you want to see more videos of me actually playing gear and not describing problems about gear or responding to comments, because that's typically what I do. And yeah, it's gonna do it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time.
You know what this wall is missing? Another amp. There we go.